TJR uses brain rot to make over $25 million every single year. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down his exact content strategy, his foundations, and his content pillars on how TJR uses brain rot to make over $25 million every single year from his personal brand. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down his exact content strategy, his foundations, his pillars, how he's grown his personal brand as fast as he is, and how he makes so much money from it. So let's get straight into it. With every personal brand, we have to look at the foundations first. Whether the person themselves have, realized how important foundations are unconsciously and they've done it, or they've realized consciously that they have to have strong foundations, or they have a team behind them that have told them, look, you need to have strong foundations to build a big brand or a successful brand. Either way, every one of the top brands, including like Shelby, who I did a video on last time, has incredibly strong foundations. And if you don't have strong foundations for your personal brand, you're going to lose. You're not going to grow. You have to have solid principles that go behind your brand and have to be well thought out for you to succeed. So first of all, we have to look at his niche, and his niche is trading. Trading is a very low trust niche because every single trading creator is selling something. A lot of them are scammers. Every trader has been either scammed once or started trading and lost all their money or has a horror story. So trading is a very low trust niche. People usually follow a bunch of different traders. So everyone's seeing testimonials, is seeing horror stories about one person, and just a whole bunch of shit in the trading niche. Is very low trust niche. And if we pair that with the fact that trading itself, regardless of what type of trading it is highly emotional, then it's kind of hard to navigate. So if we look at like trading compared to other vehicles like real estate, for example, it's not as an emotional kind of thing to get into, an emotional vehicle. With real estate, it's simply financial decisions, whereas with trading, you have to have the whole psychology master behind it. And of course, that plays into who you connect with online, like what kind of personal connection you make with them or how you resonate with them. Because when you're taking, advice from a trader, you are obviously going to take psychological advice on how they keep their psychology in check. So the emotions come into it, and that also makes it harder to navigate as a niche in general. And also trading as a niche is a macro niche. So you've got things within trading very specific, like meme coin trading, which is more micro. But if we look at trading in general, it's a much more macro thing. So he's got about, I think, 800k followers maybe on Instagram now. So it's a very macro thing. A lot of beginners, a lot of people that older people who just look up how to make 10k a month online or how to make money from your house, they find trading, they find interest in it, they find all these people flexing the lifestyle, and they get into trading. So trading is a kind of broad niche which TJR uses to his advantage. Now, one thing that TJR does or realized was that you need to do the opposite to what everyone else in your market is doing. And this is a quote from William Brown from one of his podcasts, not word for word, but when everyone else in your market is doing one thing, if you do the complete opposite of what they're doing, not only will you grow faster, but you'll build more curiosity in general about your brand, even if they're not necessarily interested in the niche in general. But you'll also grow a stronger connection with your brand because you're different. So then if we look at this principle applied to TJR, we can look at the other people in his niche. So trading niche creators are very flexy. They just flex the lifestyle as much as they can. And this is mostly back in the day, as TJR claims to have done, and I kind of agree with it. He pretty much changed the trading niche in terms of his content and the personal brand that he's built. But people, when he first started, only showed their W's. So with trading back in the day especially, it was all about showing lifestyle and showing the fact that you win all the time. But in reality, again, if we go back to the emotions of trading, every trader knows, even the most profitable ones know, that you don't always win. And when you lose, that's a huge part of it. How do you deal with your losses? How do you recover from that? So again, TJR realized, whether he did it consciously or unconsciously, that this is a huge thing that he needed to implement within his brand. Another thing, people who, again, back in the day mostly had a huge lack of authenticity. If we look at people like Alex G, he's switched his content a lot, more to the authenticity side, using his stories as well to post his wins, his losses, and really highlights his authenticity. Because That's what people want. Authenticity is one of the highest frequency things that you can do, because as humans, we can sense the authentic energy coming from other people. And especially in 2025 with market sophistication and low trust and low human connection, people value authenticity, people value real human connections, and that plays a lot into how he was able to grow his brand as quick and as big as it is. And then we have low audience resonance. So what I mean by this is, again, this is kind of, TJR does this quite well, but he still kind of has low audience resonance as well. A lot of people in the trading niche are selling to, again, a macro audience, selling to people who are either kids, freshly 16, 18, 20, or even adults who have like 9 to 5 jobs, but they're posting lifestyle videos of having Ferraris or buying new cars at such a young age, which causes low audience resonance because not a lot of people in their audience can relate to this lifestyle. They can't relate to having these cars. And while this used to work a lot better, it still does work, of course, because people don't have the biggest IQs and they get sold on these things. But it doesn't work as well as it used to when you're just flashing a lifestyle. People want to buy from someone that they actually resonate with. So a lot of the big creators as well, or emerging creators that we've seen, talk a lot more about their faith. They talk a lot more about their relationships, their family, with God. They have a lot more authentic and true to themselves things that they're posting online. You'll notice this a lot more, especially in 2025. People are trying to resonate with their audience a lot more. And then the final thing is, people just sell the dream in the trading niche. Like, I personally never really thought about trading, to be honest. Everyone had their moment, but I very quickly realized that it just wasn't for me. And a lot of people in the trading niche completely sell the dream of, the lifestyle, again, like I said, always winning. And that's just really not the case. It's tough. You have to basically spend 2 years of just either losing money or suffering with your psychology or losing to become a profitable trader. And then once you become profitable, it is pretty good. You have a lot of time leverage, location leverage. You can make a lot of money, but people online really do just sell the dream, and that's just not what TJR does. So let's break down how TJR spotted all of these things, whether, again, he did it on purpose or not, and created the brand that he did. So I believe about 2.5 years ago he started, and I watched in a video of his. He saw everyone else at the time, of course, doing all of the things that I just listed, but also he saw everyone was on Instagram and YouTube. So again, what did he do? He went to TikTok. TJR started off with TikTok. Everyone else was doing one thing. He did the other thing. And these are all very small things when you think about it on the grand scheme of things, because there's the huge things of, he's just great at making content, he just has a good personality, he's actually great at trading. Again, from what we know, he's got pretty good results as well. So I believe, again, haven't looked into him that much, but all of these relatively small things are huge. These are the foundations that a lot of people are missing. Some people can have not a lot of these and still grow their brand, but they're not going to grow as big, as fast, or make as much money from their brand as TJR does. Now, we've covered the foundations. He saw what people were doing in his niche. He realized that, yes, it was working, but if you want to come to the top of your market, you have to do the complete opposite. So he started doing that. But that was just the foundations. How did TJR really grow to 2.1 million followers across all platforms in about 2 years? And there's a few different pillars that we can get into. The first one, and there's two main pillars. The first one is volume. I don't think I've ever seen anyone who posts as much content as TJR does across all the different platforms. And let's break down the numbers. Now, before we actually break down the numbers, we have a quote by Hormozi: volume negates luck. So if we apply this into the content space, and this applies to everyone, whether you're in trading, whether you're in drop shipping, fitness, if you just post more, you're just putting more and more lottery tickets out there for one of them to go viral, or for you to just start going viral and start making a shit ton of money. But let's look at the volume that TJR does, because you probably don't actually realize, although he's on your feed a lot, how much he truly posts. So regardless of his quality, the amount of volume he posts, he was bound to blow up. He was destined to blow up with the amount of volume. So when I made these notes, the 30 days prior to making these notes, he had posted 94 times on his main Instagram account. So this is clipping aside, which we'll get onto. On his main Instagram account, he had posted 94 reels. On TikTok, he had posted an average of 25 videos a day, equating to roughly 756 videos for that month. So we're already at over 840 videos within 30 days. And on YouTube, which is long form, which is where you create buyers, where you create raving fans, he had over 900 minutes of YouTube content posted in terms of volume in the last 30 days. So over 840 posts on TikTok and Instagram on his main accounts, and over 900 minutes of YouTube long form content, authentic, showing results, live trading, recaps, day in the lives, 905 minutes. So let's break that down further, right? Let's assume over the last 2 years he did half the volume that he did over the last 30 days, times by the 2 years. He's posted over 10,860 minutes minimum, assuming half the volume, on YouTube alone. Again, excluding any shorts that he's done just on long form. Then if we look at Instagram, assuming again half the volume, 47 videos every 30 days for the last 2 years, 24 months, is over 1,000 reels on Instagram, just main account. And then TikTok, we assume again half the volume, 378 videos for 24 months, is 9,000 TikTok videos on his main account. That's over 10,000 videos on TikTok and Instagram main account, and over almost 11,000 minutes on YouTube on his main account. So actually take that in for a second. That's insane. Then if we take all of that volume and we add clipping, which he pays $1 for every 1,000 views, so his CPM is $1. His budget is at least $10,000 per month. It ranges every single month, so I couldn't get an exact volume. But that's another 10 million views just from clipping as well. Again, he's going to have a CPM of 1, but it's probably minimum payouts at 10 or 50K. So he gets more than 10 million views, but pays out for 10 million. So just volume alone, think about the amount of volume he's doing compared to the volume you're doing and question why you're not succeeding. Then let's go deeper into his Instagram. His main bottom of funnel hook for his Instagram is, here's how I made X amount of dollars day trading the S&P 500. This is the hook that he uses over and over again for his main Instagram account. He posts a lot of top of funnel and middle of funnel content. I wouldn't even describe a lot of his content as top of funnel and middle of funnel. It's just brain rot. It's just like zesty stuff. So I wouldn't even necessarily call it top of funnel. But in terms of top of funnel, you can't, they kind of blend, but he got 47 videos. Middle of funnel, he did 17. And then bottom of funnel, he did 19. But there's no real pattern or like differentiator between top of funnel, middle of funnel. The only real thing that you can kind of classify is bottom of funnel, where he specifically mentioned something to do with trading. A lot of the TOF and MOF are kind of just like mindset stuff, brain rot stuff, zesty stuff, cars, lifestyle, which he does of course utilize because that does sell, especially to his ICP. Now, again, I'm not going to go too far into his TikTok. If you've seen TJR's TikTok, it's just complete brain rot. Again, he does have some viral content. He does have his odd hooks here and there that he's repurposed. But his TikTok is literally just brain rot videos. But his YouTube is very interesting. If we look at his YouTube, it's very well thought out. It's very strategic. It's well planned. And it's very good content. He does a lot of live trade recaps. So he sits there actually live, speaking in front of the camera. Where you can see him trading or recapping his trades that he's done. So again, complete authenticity. He shows his losses, his wins. He shows his emotions behind him trading. And if we take all of these top of funnel and kind of bottom of funnel content, he also does vlogs. He also does day in the lives as well. Take all of these millions of viewers that he's kind of turned into buyers through his lifestyle and through his authenticity, because he has very well structured top of funnel content where he actually mentions students' results in his YouTube videos at the right times. People don't realize that everything is thought out. Everything that you think is a coincidence or just he wants to show it. And Brez does this really well. It's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. They know what they're doing. They do this very strategically. But one thing that TJR has set up, which everyone should have, especially in the trading niche again because of authenticity, is he has his boot camp or his challenges. There are playlists, tens of hours of content in his YouTube for the buyers who find him from his top of funnel or bottom of funnel and go through his boot camps. Just in his boot camps alone, I think he's gotten over 10 million views. And just again, it's insane. If you think about how many buyers that created and how much money he cash collected from just his boot camps alone is absolutely disgusting. But yeah, moving on to pillar two. Pillar one is honestly the main thing, regardless of like the quality and what he actually posted and how good at trading he is. He's going to succeed. Of course, being a great trader, having the personality and being good on camera all make this, add fuel to the fire. But yeah, if we look at pillar two, is authenticity. Now, before we get into authenticity, if you want a breakdown of TJR's sales process, his offers, his sales team, how he actually turns his eyeballs into money, comment TJR or message me on Instagram, link in the description and link in bio if you want me to send that video over to you. Or if you want help growing your coaching offer, message me on Instagram. We can have a conversation, see if I can help you. Moving on to pillar two. Part of this is he is unapologetically himself. Now, this is again, good, and some people can call it bad because it's not really bad, it's just polarizing. The same way that Shelby Sapp is polarizing and says no to the guys and leans heavily into the certain type of person, the certain type of woman that she wants to attract, and it obviously resonates with them a lot better. TJR does this well, so he targets using a certain specific few things. He targets kind of like the 16 to like 25-year-old ICP, of course men, a certain type of guy that is interested in trading that he can attract and sell on his offers. But the other thing to do with actually trading is that he shows the good and the bad. But that aside, if someone's not a good trader and they show the good and the bad, it's not going to be as strong as him actually being a really good trader and having the backstory that he has and putting the work in and getting to where he is. But the fact that he does show the good and the bad is another huge thing, mixed with the fact that he's unapologetically himself. And as I mentioned earlier, authenticity is the highest frequency. People can sense whether someone is being authentic. Of course, we have people online and people in like politicians and people in general in your life that are fake or can act in a certain type of way to make you like them or make certain type of people like them. Most of the time you can see through that bullshit, and if you actually have like common sense or a bit of an IQ, you can sense this. And this is why TJR has such a strong brand, because people can sense his authenticity and they resonate with his authenticity as a trader. So yeah, the fact that his brain rot, zestiness, and flexing is so polarizing and attracts a certain type of person and pushes the other people away, because again, the same way that flexing really works well for a certain type of person, it also pushes away the other certain type of people. So it's very polarizing and it works. It creates raving fans. He created this identity of person that he wants to attract, and because he creates a high volume of content that attract these type of people, he builds raving fans very, very quickly. But yeah, that's the two pillars that TJR uses. But let's get on to the honorable mentions of things that he also does well, which other people or you might not be doing, that he does very, very well. The first thing is that he's great at recognizing and using trends or people to go viral. So one thing that he did recently, and of course he could actually be friends with him, but the fact that they've connected in the first place was for content, which was Togi, right? Togi picked up a lot of traction. Togi has a similar audience to TJR, which again, TJR also has a similar audience to Togi, so they both mutually benefit. But he did well, or they did well, at recognizing that they can mutually benefit from meeting and creating content. And again, TJR may make all this stuff by being zesty and all this brain rot content that makes you think that he's not as smart as he truly is. I'm not saying he's necessarily a genius, but he does these things on purpose. He also uses other trends, so like Brez as well. He does the same thing with Brez. He recognized that Brez picked up a lot of motion recently and has, again, used Brez to attract the certain type of audience, create fans, create buyers, and make money, which is very smart. And the second thing is content repurposing. Sure, TJR has a massive team, but if we're looking at the volume that TJR posts, of course, a lot of his content is going to be repurposed. We look at his live streams, we look at his live trade recaps, his YouTube videos. A lot of those are clipped up and used for his main channel content. It's either clipped up and re-edited or just clipped up and posted. Not to take away from the fact that he does post a lot of just like fresh content for his pages, but he is a content repurposing master. All of his clips are posted across all the other contents. And another thing, like when you are a content creator or coach, you're going to be doing a certain thing anyway. You're going to be, if you're a real estate coach, you're going to be looking at properties, you're going to be in court, you're going to be writing contracts, you're going to be training your team. So why not record this and make content out of it? If you're a dropshipper, you're going to be doing product research. So why not record this and break down what you're looking for while doing product research? It doesn't make sense. So TJR understands that he's going to trade anyway. He might as well go live and make it into content and make his million a month from his personal brand anyway. And then 3, he doesn't really post his offers, so he has a really good goodwill or give to ask ratio. So if you know Alex Hormozi, you know that he speaks about in his books, I believe it was $100 million leads, he speaks about having a a good give to ask ratio. So you want it to be at least 3-to-1. Let's say you make like 3 pieces of content. You want to have, and this is like a minimum, ideally you want like 5 to 10 again to strengthen your CTAs, but have a 3-to-1 give to ask ratio. If you make, for example, 3 hours of YouTube content, you've given so much that you're able to ask, 1 CTA or at the very end of your video, because let's say it's an hour long, you spend 5-10 minutes with a CTA going over your offer, you have a good give to ask ratio. Again, selling online isn't a bad thing. You're actually helping people if you have a good product. So when you actually pitch to someone, people want to buy, people want the help. So as long as you have a good give to ask ratio, you can make money, and yeah, that's fine. So now moving on to what he could do better. One thing that I hate about these huge personal brands is that they don't spend, or they don't do these extra things that can make them so much more money. And it's all about brand perception as well. One person that does this really well is Nick Setting. If you look at most of Nick Setting's testimonials, most of them are in real life. Most of them are in these crazy nice like sunset places with podcast setups, nice villas. And these are huge things when it comes to brands, because again, with him attracting a certain type of person and being polarizing, you are creating a brand. So why not that people want to either be involved with, and the stronger your brand is, the stronger they'll want to be involved in it, or not be involved in it. So you might as well add on to the strength of what people would want to be involved in it, and that is by doing in real life student testimonials. He's got a low trust niche. He's got a niche and a personal brand that is, potential to make a lot more money if he just increases the trust of the people that are not solution aware or not in a buying state right now. And let's say he spends 5-10K flying a fan out, doing an in real life testimonial, doing a day in the life where he shows that he's made his student go from this amount to this amount, talks about the lifestyle. He's going to make again 100K plus from that video. So he's going to put 5-10K in and make 100K plus, probably more over lifetime from that video. The second thing is creating better urgency. Not saying he should CTA more, but do better story sequences instead of just like a testimonial, like not even testimonial, like a screenshot and a link. He should do build up urgency, so more wait lists, or just promote it in a better way. It's not really done in the best way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you do want a full breakdown of his entire strategy, his offers, how he actually makes his money, his sales team setup, and yeah, kind of the sales process that he uses, comment down below or message me on Instagram. And yeah, that's the video done. And as always, see you in the next one.